Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
A resolution on the Grand Lucayan Resort was put forth in the House of Assembly this morning.
House Speaker Moultrie lashes out in Parliament.
Dozens of doctors walk off the job protesting better working conditions. That story is coming up.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. House Speaker Moultrie back on the attack today, this time against his own party as he delivered a damning assessment of the system that governs the country, as well as what he labeled an adulterous relationship between the Attorney General's office and the cabinet. Well, following his scathing comments in the House of Assembly, Moultrie predicted a penetrating chill factor from some of his colleagues. Jasmine Brown reports.
Moultrie did not hold back as he insisted the time for the government to get it right is now. Moultrie, who expressed his personal views, insisted the way that the Westminster system is practiced in the country has resulted in the facilitation of greed, corruption, and plunder.
History is replete with examples of atrocities that have come about when power is concentrated either in one person or in one group of persons. It facilitates greed, corruption, and plunder. It gives you the inner city blues, and it makes you want to holler and throw up both your hands. But this is no time for hollering or throwing up both your hands. This is time to throw down the gauntlet and wage war against systems of oppression and subjugation. Absolute power and dictatorial control.
While he did not point to a specific administration, Moultrie insisted it has been a fatal flaw of successive administrations. And he did not stop there, as he claimed that over the past few decades, the executive branch has continued to encroach on the legislative and judicial branches, a practice he says is equally wrong under the Minnis administration.
So, Mr. Prime Minister, in future appointments of members of the executive, please ensure that there are sufficient backbenches remaining so as to allow the Parliament to hold the government to account.
Moultrie added that the fact of the matter is the Westminster system is designed for checks and balances.
Perhaps the best place to start is the total separation of the legislative branch from the executive branch. It is common knowledge that the continuing encroachment of the executive into the Parliament has effectively rendered the legislature impotent in its role as a check on the executive, as envisaged by Article 72 of the Constitution.
Now, Moultrie, who was appointed as Speaker shortly after the FNM won the May 2017 general election, has been no stranger to controversy in a short time in the chair. In early February, all 4 opposition MPs were suspended from the House after Moultrie and Anglerston MP Glenys Hannah Martin got into a war of words. Today, Moultrie was again in attack mode and called on his own governing party to be transparent and accountable. In that vein, he insisted there should be an amendment that establishes a limit on the appointment of ministers to eliminate supersized cabinets. He also called for an end to what he called the adulterous relationship between cabinet and the Attorney General's office.
I've noted with interest the tendency to think that the cabinet office through the Attorney General should be the sole legal advisor to the Parliament. I see this as an adulterous relationship that is forbidden by the very concept of the separation of powers and the tenets of Westminster. The Attorney General is a member and legal advisor to the executive branch of the government. In adherence to the doctrine of the separation of powers and the conventions of Westminster, the Attorney General cannot and must not directly be involved in the affairs of the legislature and the judicial branches of government.
As some opposition members and backbenchers banged on the desk, Moultrie, who is a former chief meteorologist, said while he believes his position is not his alone, he does not believe it will be well received by all.
Having said that, I have and forecast colder days and a penetrating chill factor as I move on by faith in this path of impartiality and neutrality. But I understand as a former chief meteorologist that whether the weather be cold or whether the weather be hot, whether the weather be fine or whether the weather be not, we must weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. While opposition leader Philip Davis said the speaker's fiery words in the House today signal that something is up.
Well, obviously, something is happening between him and the executive that has rattled his nerves.
Leader of Government Business Renward Wells said the speaker was not out of line, adding that plans are underway to address some of the issues he pointed out.
The Speaker is not out of step with this Free National Movement government. As a matter of fact, the Parliamentary Commission that he speaks to, there's already a cabinet paper drafted for the Parliamentary Commission.
And that the House itself should have more autonomy to do the things that it needs to do within the confinement of the House of Assembly, and he needs a little bit more power, and he's now speaking in sense of trying to go down the road of being independent but yet still towing a party line.
Well, the Minnis administration was forced to delay debate on a resolution to borrow $35 million to complete the purchase of the Grand Lucayan after the opposition protested the lack of information given beforehand. Opposition leader Philip Davis says there are still too many unanswered questions. With more on this, here's Jillian Gray.
This is a vital piece of resolution to the vitality of the economy of Grand Bahama, and I lay it with the greatest of pride.
Amid widespread opposition to what has been described by critics as a bad deal, Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest tabled a resolution seeking approval to borrow $35 million to complete the controversial sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that this House, 1, authorizes the government of the Bahamas to guarantee the loan to Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited in the sum of $35 million for the purpose of paying the balance of the purchase price.
The Minnis administration had intended to debate the resolution and other documents to facilitate the purchase on Wednesday. However, debate was delayed due to pushback from the opposition. Davis on Tuesday requested 12 supporting documents in order to proceed with the debate, including the projected costs of insurance coverage, staff benefits and severance, operation and maintenance costs.
Up to yesterday, we did not receive it. So I wrote to the Prime Minister requesting that information with other information I thought that would help inform the debate and to make known publicly some of those processes that one would have required or expect to have happened in a transaction such as this. We still have not heard anything. And so today, when they asked whether we could proceed, I said, well, I don't know how you could proceed because you will never provide us with the agreement of sale.
Leader of Government Business Renward Wells hit back at Davis's assertion, stating the issues regarding the hotel are not new, and his call for those documents is simply a delaying tactic.
All of the issues regarding what we're seeking to do in purchasing the hotel is already there. The opposition said, we ain't going to debate unless you give us the sales agreement. But they know all of the issues that is contained within that sales agreement. Okay? And for us, it is just simply a delaying tactic.
When the House resumes tomorrow to debate the resolutions, Wells said he expects there to be fireworks.
Every contentious issues, especially if there's a philosophical difference between the government and the opposition, there's always fireworks. And I perceive, just based on conversation, that there's a philosophical difference as to how they would have approached the situation. And we're approaching it in a manner in which we believe is in the best interest of the Bahamian people.
The government intends to repay the loan from Hutchinson in 7 tranches of $5 million every 6 months for 3.5 years, with an interest rate of 4% per year paid quarterly. Despite criticism, Turnquest insisted the government takes its obligation to the country's finances and the overall economy very seriously.
It would be irresponsible for any government to ignore the plight of that economy and its major economic drivers. There is no doubt that the Grand Lucayan is a significant factor in the future of the economy of Grand Bahama.
The finance minister insisted many people do not understand what drives Grand Bahama's economy and added that the troubled resort's 400 employees aren't the only ones who rely on the Grand Lucayan.
Not only are we talking about the straw vendors across the street, the Lucayan marketplace, not are we talking about the taxi drivers, the wood carvers and all of the artisans that practice from that place. We're not only talking about the cruise ships that arrive daily that provide guests and visitors to that property.
Now again, the plan is for the resolution to be debated in the House of Assembly tomorrow. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
All right, thanks, Jillian. Well, the Doctors Union led a demonstration on the front steps of Princess Margaret Hospital today. Jared Hicks tells us more.
For years, the junior doctors have been under successive governments, marginalized, mistreated, abused, bloodied, but our heads are not bowed.
A lack of maternity benefits and working holidays at regular pay are just a few of the issues junior doctors say they must endure as they administer care to patients at an already resource-strapped hospital. Bahamas Doctors Union President Dr. Millicent Bassett led dozens of placard-carrying physicians demanding what she described as basic human rights.
Why do we have to take you to court to get you to pay these doctors who go on maternity leave? That's a benefit for all Bahamians. You shouldn't have to fight you on that at every turn. Despite taking you to the labor board, despite getting victories in some areas, we're still begging you to honor the law in that regard.
According to Bassett, the latest insult involved the decision to revoke medical licenses issued by the Bahamas Medical Council from senior House officers.
Now they've come back and told them the requirements that you, or the references that you've submitted, we will no longer accept, and we will not honor your licenses. That is illegal.
As a result of the licenses being revoked, the union argues that those doctors are being denied salary increases. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands responded to the license issue, telling reporters that the matter falls under the Bahamas Medical Council and those who feel they have been wronged may need to seek legal action.
The minister cannot dictate to the council whether they feel someone is a fit and proper person to be licensed and registered. If individuals are aggrieved, they have the ability to go to the courts to get that resolved.
As for the maternity concerns, Sands says he was under the impression that the matter had been fully addressed and he wouldn't comment further. Another issue, a poorly functioning air conditioning unit at the critical care block, which has left patients and hospital staff languishing in the summer heat for months. Sands says while that issue is being addressed, he admits that it required the assistance of international experts. Members of the nurses union also stood in solidarity with the doctors. They've had their own issues over the past few months.
We stand 100% with the doctors. We cannot move without them. So today, we're saying to the government, we want it done today, not tomorrow. We want things to be done in a speedily manner.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
An investigation has been launched into a viral video of a student from a public high school running after another student with a knife. However, Education Minister Jeff Lloyd insisted the issue is not a security problem.
But take a look at the circumstances, what we are challenged with. Young people, I don't know what the age of this person is, but let's take a guess, 15, 16? Are you serious about, potentially inflicting some serious harm on the life of another person to the extent that it potentially could cause death? This is about security. This is about a mental apparatus within the heartbeat and the mind of our Bahamian people. Yeah. That's the challenge that we are confronted with, and we are investigating it, and we'll deal with it.
Shrugging off the need to beef up security, Lloyd said he does not think that schools need more security guards, nor does he think security guards need more training. He said these issues are simply a part of life.
This is life. There are incidences that are going to happen of this nature. What we need to do, this is a socialization process. This is a reality that is afflicting our young people in this country.
Still to come on Our News, IRCA to investigate recent fires at 2 BPL plants. Plus, texting and driving could soon land you in hot water. Stay tuned.